Hello and welcome to the International Juggler live stream. I think there's no. I'm Luke Burridge. This is Juliana. Say hi, Juliana.
Hi, everyone.
And this is the live stream where I share in one go, in one sequence, all the way through in the live stream, all of the clips that I've been sharing over the last 33 days to Instagram and Twitter, and this is a way to share it with YouTube and tell stories and answer questions from the chat, and also just a way to say thank you to all the Patreon supporters, a little bonus for Patreon supporters and a way for them to come and hang out with us. So I just want to start off this live stream saying thank you so much to all of our Patreon supporters. You can, if you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/Luke Burridge. $1 a month gets you access to the exclusive juggling podcast. And lots of other things as well. Other benefits include some videos early. That's what we're doing this month, running up to a show that I'm doing next month at an live juggling, an online juggling convention show. I'm performing in that, and I'm vlogging about it, and I'm going to be releasing those exclusively early for my Patreon supporters. So if you're interested in that, I don't know when they'll be made public. It'll depend on when, how often or how many other juggling conventions want this video. It may be later on in the year as well. So that'll be it. So yeah, again, patreon.com/Luke Burridge, and it's a great way to support us. And also, if you want to suggest a topic for a future video, vlog, or podcast topic or live stream topic or anything like that, there's a way of doing it. There's a level of support. $25. If you throw $25 our way on Patreon, that's a great way. So let's get into. What's up? Yes.
I also want to say something.
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah.
But we're grateful for every single
any level of support.
Every single thing that you support us with. I'm always super impressed with the generosity of all people out there. Thank you so much. It helps a lot.
A big thank you to our Patreon supporters. All right, let's get into this. So the way that this works is with these video clips, I always get questions. People say, they're always saying, oh, why do you only juggle 5 balls? And I know it's boring and people get annoyed that I'm only ever doing 5-ball juggling. But here's the thing. I didn't record these clips to share the entire unedited clip from beginning to end. So for example, here's the first clip that I did, and it is me and I start juggling and I go all the way through and then I stop juggling and watch towards the camera. This was never the intended format for these clips. It was always like, these are going to be part of a longer video all edited down, so you're only going to get about 5 seconds worth of juggling, 4 or 5 seconds worth of juggling, and then we go on to the next clip. And in that time it's almost impossible, and I tried lots of times to do tricks and sequencing, but when it's mostly about the travel and the background and I just need some juggling at the start, 5-ball juggling was like the standard trick.
Also, it's easier to transition between different places if you have one thing continuously, and that will be the juggling, because you will change your outfits, the background will change.
Although of course I'm wearing the same outfit pretty often. So let's do this. This is the first clip I shared in the sculpture series, because I've been going through different things.
Okay.
I did every country in order. I did modes of transport, lots of boats in that one.
Yes.
I did bridges. I did waterfalls versus fountains, and now this is sculptures. I think that's all the series that I've done. So this first sculpture is in Melbourne, and I just really liked it. It's called Angel by Deborah Halpern. It's from the 1970s, 60s or 70s.
Very colourful.
And it's in Melbourne in Australia.
Nice.
Some people in the chat saying, Brendan Rao says, do you plan a routine on a number of tricks or time? In this case, it was a piece of music that I really was inspired by, Brendan. So we should talk about that in the vlog when we make it too. David, thanks for coming by. Tim, Brendan, hi as well. All right, let's move on to the next thing. I got to make sure I've got the thing right. Oh, here we go. The previous clip was called Angel, and this one is called Angel of the North. Ooh. And this is by Anthony Gormley. And it's the largest sculpture in Britain. It's at Gateshead in England, north of England. It's called the Angel of the North. It was very controversial when it was first. It was very controversial when it was first proposed. People were like, "Oh, it doesn't look like an angel. It looks like an aeroplane." But I
was just
think
about
it's really
to
good.
ask Like the wings look very much like plain wings.
Yeah, they are. It's made out of a big bit of steel. It's all like rusted. It's like specially rusted steel. Very impressive. It has become an icon of the North. I used to live nearby. I used to live in the next city over. That was Gateshead. I worked in Gateshead and lived in Newcastle.
Very impressive.
Yeah, so that's a good one. I think, were you filming that one back in 2012?
I was filming that one.
That was your first visit.
That
was your first visit to the UK with me.
Yes.
Next up, we have Mammoth. It's called Mammoth by Rita Kopra in Helsinki, Finland, also in 2012. And it was very big, because you're like, how big is a mammoth really? It turns out mammoths are really big. Right. And this is a metal frame, and it's filled with bits of wood and moss and other things.
Okay.
And it lasted for about a year until it was then destroyed by fire. It caught fire. So now it's just the metal frame, the size of that. So that's in the docks in Helsinki, which is pretty cool.
It's also pretty impressive.
It is very impressive. I really enjoyed that one. Oh, let me just say something. Normally, when people watching these videos, I'm never quite sure. I've got like 3,000 followers on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
And then normally these videos, I'm not sure like sometimes I'll put out a clip of it. If it's new juggling, it gets 1,000 views. If it's a big video, 2,000 views or whatever, and hundreds of likes. But these clips, I think what's happened is that the Instagram algorithm has decided that if there's #international juggler, just don't bother showing it to anyone.
Aww.
And I guess it's because people are sick of this series, or people want me to do other tricks. But hey, throughout this lockdown, I can't travel, and this is a way to keep traveling and keep sharing stories and showing, uniting the world. Well, not uniting the world, showing the entire world and juggling and things like that. Of course, I could concentrate on sharing new tricks all the time, but I don't feel like that. So this time I decided to write down which of these videos after about 24 hours had a lot of views and a lot of likes, or hardly any views and hardly any likes.
Oh, okay.
And that could be to do with the Instagram algorithm looking at it and going, nah, no, not really impressed by that. Not really impressed by that. Or maybe just fewer people liking, and they show it to a few people. If nobody likes it, it gets showed to a few people. Not sure what it was. So if we go over to this first one, Angel, not a great reaction to it. I'm not sure. Sculptures, this one actually got quite a good reaction.
Yeah, well, I think you have quite a lot of British friends who follow you. Maybe
maybe that's it.
Or something.
Number 3, the Mammoth one got an average fine reaction, and then we get to number 4, and this is a sculpture called Untitled Lamp Bear by Urs Fischer, who is a Swiss sculptor, and this is in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, and I videoed that in 2017 as I was passing through. It's actually in the airport, and loads of people love this. I think it's just because...
Come on, look at it. It's an amazing sculpture, and it looks like a giant fluffy teddy bear.
The thing is, it's not a fluffy teddy bear. It's actually made out of
brass.
Yeah, you can actually see the lamp here.
Yeah.
It's what is it? Untitled Lamp Bear. When you actually look at the lamp, you see it actually is embedded in the head.
Yeah.
Like it's not. This isn't sitting behind the teddy bear. It's all part of it.
Yes.
And all of it is brass, I think. And
it's very impressive.
It's not. This is not fluffy at all. It looks fluffy because it's a representation of something that is fluffy. Anyway, that was very, very well liked. I think again, just because it's big and bright, and I think Instagram just likes big, bright stuff.
Yes, probably.
All right. Next up is
it's also big and bright.
Yeah, well, it's not. This was the algorithm and people were not into this. This is Pomnik Kristuke Krola, the second tallest. I think it's Christ the King statue there. So it's the second tallest Christ statue in the world. It's in Poland, and we recorded that actually on the way to the Lublin Juggling Convention when we went over there in 2014. Instagram, the Instagram algorithm and jugglers, not into it. Didn't care about Jesus at all. Really not into it. So next up we have, this is actually a sculpture. Well, it's kind of a statue, and we can get into what's the difference between a statue and a sculpture. But this is D'Artagnan and the Three Musketeers and the artist was Zurab Tesseratelli. And it's in Condom in France, and we pretty much visited the town of Condom. Yeah, we visited Condom, and I actually have a video of me juggling 5 balls next to the sign that says Condom, and that was on the way to the French juggling convention. No, not the French juggling, the EJC in France, wasn't it? It was on the way to Toulouse. We went there.
2013.
Yeah. Lucas, greetings from Spain. How are you people? We're doing very well. Thanks, Lucas, for stopping by. Okay, so this is definitely a sculpture. This is a statue, but you can also call it a sculpture. Yeah. These are definitely statues, though. And I realized after that, I was like, actually, what I need to do is stick to sculpture. So sculpture has to be representative of a thing, but not identifiable as a specific person. Okay. If that makes sense.
Right.
So this next thing, this is The Wave. And this is in Halifax in Canada. And it's by Donna Hebert, and I was juggling here in 2018. This is like the only time I've been to the only juggling video I actually have in mainland mainland Canada. I'd been to Newfoundland before, and there I am juggling 5 balls as low as possible underneath this wave. The thing is, the camera setup that I'd done, I actually framed it so I could juggle on top of it, and I attempted many, many times to run like the kid is doing here. You can actually see the kid trying to run it behind, and I tried getting on there, and I tried many, many times, but it had just been raining when I was there, and no matter how hard I tried, and there's actually some clips of me, you just see me going up and then just turning around and sliding it down, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get to the top to juggle. So in the end, I went underneath, but I forgot to reframe it. Otherwise, I'd have reframed it a bit better. But yeah, it's called
that's fun.
It's called The Wave in Halifax.
Looks a bit like Flubber or from the movie The Abyss.
Yeah,
like the way that it's
it's like almost too perfectly fake of a wave.
Yes.
Okay, just want to quickly pop over to OBS, see if OBS is still recording. I think everything's still going there as well. Good. All right, let's go back over to here.
Hello, Kathy.
Hey, Kathy. Hey, my mother is in the chat. Hi, Tim from Sweden. Okay. So let's go here. So this is actually 2 clips in one because I happened to visit this in 2 times, and I was really struggling to get a bounce video here because the floor is it's not flat. So anytime one of those balls hits a little clip, so I couldn't actually get a good one. So this is called Unconditional Surrender by Seward Johnson, and this is in Civitavecchia in Italy. Now, this is a sculpture which has been many places. There's different versions of this sculpture, and of course, it's based on that famous Times Square photograph. Except it isn't, because that famous Times Square photograph is copyrighted. So there's actually another photograph taken of the same kiss, taken from a slightly different angle, which is in the public domain. And he said that sculpture is based on this other, way less famous photo of the same instant. Quite a controversial sculpture because it's called Unconditional Surrender, and you're like, oh, is that to do with VE Day? Like, no, not VED, VJ Day. What is it? Victory in Japan Day, the end of the Second World War. But also, it was like a non-consensual kiss, and like how many times have you kissed somebody with clenched fists? It's weird. So yeah, it's like
it's a
bit of a Me Too moment with that sculpture. But hey, I don't want to always comment on how like the politics behind all this kind of stuff.
I think it is important to mention it, to put it into a context, and then that's absolutely fine. Yeah, but just mentioning it, that this is obviously not just a straightforward I fell into your arms moment.
It was not a I fell into your arms moment. And I visited it twice in 2012, so I have 2 videos there. I think were you with me? With the first one.
Yes.
All right, next up we go over to one of 2 statues or sculptures of Kiwis that I did. This was when I was over in New Zealand this year, an unexpected 2-week trip in New Zealand, which I made a vlog about if you want to check that out, and in a place called National Park, which is in a national park. It's also a village called National Park. Nothing there except, some hostels and a few shops and some is where the buses pick you up to do this famous trek, which I
is that a fun I'm always like when you do this switching between the clips.
Yeah, well, I could go over here, but I could go like that to get it back, but it brings the thing up. I'll do that from now on.
Okay, thank you. This is a pretty fun looking cube. Is it made from wood?
It is. It's like a metal frame with driftwood attached, and this is by Jack Marsden Mayer. And it's he all of his sculptures are made of these sort of like driftwood, which he picks up from beaches and things like that.
Looks pretty cool.
He's a British artist living in New Zealand, or maybe he's a New Zealand artist. I don't know, but I looked up on his website. Yeah, all of these things. So a lot of these have got names next to them because I always wanted to find the original sculpture, who put this together.
Yeah.
This next one, though, I couldn't find who created this whale bone. These are jaw bones from whales, and this is in the Falklands Isles, the Islas Malvinas, if you want to be Argentinian about it. This is in 2017. I actually have like 7 or 8 clips of me juggling here over different times because I visit the Falklands many times, or have visited. And this is right in the center of town. So I'm always like, let's get a video. And some of it's nice blue sky. And this is just the clip that I decided to pick out to share with this one.
Nice little penis in the background as well.
Oh, you like the flowers, do you? This was impressively unpopular. That is my note here. And it's an impressively unpopular thing. And I'm thinking, is it because it's whale bones and that's like not really a cool thing? Whaling isn't a thing. Is it because
I would have never guessed that this is whale bones.
Yes, but I said juggling by the whalebone arch in Stanley, Falklands in 2017. But then I was thinking maybe it's controversial and it just doesn't get shown in Argentina or Spanish-speaking countries. I'm not really sure. What is it about the Falklands that people aren't into? Don't know. But my note was impressively unpopular. Next up, another thing that the algorithm was very, very unimpressed by was in Stettin. Is it how you pronounce it? I don't know how you pronounce it. In Szczecin in Poland in 2012. This is the Monument to Polish Endeavor. It's like, hey, you Polish workers, you did really well at some point. I can't remember, but it's like this Soviet era monument, and it's by Kazimierz Gustav Zemla. Zemwa, is that how you pronounce it? Anyway, I honestly thought, well, this might be the thing that kills off the International Jugglers series completely because it was so unpopular. People just were not into it at all. But then the next one, people really love this. And I was like,
shiny.
It's shiny, it's blue, and also Argentina. Maybe they were like, oh, we're not going to show the Argentinians and South Americans, and the Chileans or whatever it is, the Falklands, but we'll show them Buenos Aires. This is again, I have loads of clips from me here because it's one of the
really pretty.
It's
Does
very
it close
pretty.
And open?
It doesn't close and open, but it turns like this to follow the sun.
Nice.
Sometimes I think half the time I've been there it's not been working. I don't really know, but yeah, it's this big stainless steel sculpture, and it's in Buenos Aires. This is a clip from 2017. It's called Floralis Generica, and it's by Eduardo Catalano, and it's one of my favorite things one of my favorite places to visit. Actually, it was one of the things that when I was getting into photography in like 2008 and I first got myself a DSLR and I was going around and I was like, I want to take this photo, and I tried getting it there like that and I clicked it, and then I was like, I remember this photographer that I liked at the time who was doing HDR photography, high dynamic range photography. I was like, let me go and check out his photo of it because I think I remember him taking a photo of it, and I found that, and it was exactly the same. We'd both put our cameras in the same place. There's only a few places where you can get really good things because it's really difficult to get close to. They made it so it's difficult to climb over there.
They don't want people to climb. It's
like a moat, there's all the bushes, so you've got to go through the bushes, and then this thing here is actually quite a high wall to then climb over it. So they try and make it very difficult to get to. So it's quite difficult to get an up close video of it. But
really beautiful.
Yeah,
especially
it's
with
beautiful.
Blue sky,
it is. It's a beautiful sculpture. How do you say that? Floralis Generica. Right, let's scroll down a bit more in here as well.
Generic flower.
I don't know. That's the name of it. Let's go back over here. Let's click down the next one. So this is called Molecule Man 1+1+1.
Looks very familiar to me.
And it's by Jonathan Borofsky, and it's in the Yorkshire Sculpture Park and this is in England. And it's from 2014. Now, what I remember most about this is that I wanted to visit this. I was at the British Juggling Convention in 2014, and we're in North Yorkshire, near Sheffield, but that's where this is. And this was just a little bit, like a 5 kilometers away or 5 miles away, whatever it was.
Trip out.
And so I had my parents' bikes because I was staying in their camper van for that. It was me and Aidan were staying there.
Yes,
you know Aidan?
I remember, yes.
He died later that year, but it was really good to say, hey, you can stay here in the camper van with me. So I spent some time with him. So that's my memories of this. So I borrowed, because the bikes were there, and I went out and I went down the hill, and there was some gravel. I just lost it and just face planted straight into it. Now I had a hat on, didn't have a helmet on, had a hat on.
Always wear a helmet.
But I smashed my face really. I scraped around. You can't really see it there.
Oh yeah, I can.
Can you see it a little bit here?
The blue eye.
Yeah,
the
this
bruised eye
smashed at my face. And then just turned around and went back up and was like, talked to some of the doctors. Alice, there's actually 2 doctors who are jugglers called Alice, and they're like, oh no, it's okay, you'll be fine. Your face is just a crumple zone for your brain. So what actually happens is your face smashes up, like all crunches and smashes, and that keeps your brain safe at the back. But I was just like, my face was disgusting. It was just destroyed.
Yeah, I remember you had this bit of paper then where you showed that
that was another thing, is because every British juggler, no British juggler, because the kind of British sense of humor means that you have to make anything that you say, you have to make a comment about, you have to try and be funny about it. Every single juggler, they would say, hey, what happened? Or like, oh, you haven't been playing combat, or did Eva do that to you in the fight night, or whatever it was, everybody had a comment, everybody asked a question. So I made a badge and laminated a badge which was said, fell off bike, please no jokes. And when anybody would ask me a question, I would just point at it and they would read fell off bike, and they would be like, and their eyes would light up and they'd be like, I've got to say something funny, and then they'd read the next line and they'd be like, and then they were like, okay, and then some of them would then make a joke about that, they'd try and make a meta joke, and I would just point to the next line and say, please no jokes, because I was not, my face was all messed up, I was really hurt. Took me a while to get over that.
But one more thing about this sculpture, I want to mention, is because in Berlin, we actually also do literally have
a much bigger version of this by the same that. We have a Berlin molecule man.
It stands in the middle of, not in the middle, but it's in the river.
It's by the river. Somebody actually messaged me saying, hey, did you know there's one of those in Berlin? I was like, yes, I know there's one. But a lot of these sculptures, they're not one-off sculptures. They are like, there's various different versions of these sculptures. All right, so that's the molecule man.
I guess if you do one big project, why not just do
well, if it's popular, there's many of these things. Like there's actually I can't remember. There's a few of these that I found that there was different versions of it. Okay, so this is called Solfar, or The Sun Voyager, by John Gunnar Arneson in Reykjavik, Iceland, and I videoed this in 2018. So this is normally I start the video with me starting to juggle, and I end it with me not juggling. But here I thought, well, I'll just take the middle bit because it's funny. Because of course people recognize me if I'm on a cruise ship and I'm out and about juggling and I've done my show already. People recognize me, or even if they don't, they're like, oh, somebody juggling, and they want to come in here and take photos. And that's what happened with some of these tourists here. So this was very well liked, and I was like, are people liking the sculpture, or are people liking the interaction with the clueless tourists who are standing in front of the video? So yes, I tried to make this loop a bit, so you actually got someone coming in, standing in the way, and then me saying, it's pouring down with rain, as you can see there as well. So it was always annoying because I'd set up the camera, like wipe the thing and then come out. Brendan just asked a question. Do you count the number of throws and catches? No, but again, the way this works is that I always want to get at least 5 or 6 seconds of good juggling. So then if I want to put it together into a montage, which is what a lot of these international videos, clips of the international juggling videos were, like I use a version where I sing a song in my show called Take Me to Zanzibar. And for each one of those, I only need 4 to 5 seconds. So as long as I'm juggling for around about 4 to 5 seconds, I'll take it. And then, so I juggle for like 10 seconds, which is about 20 catches, 30 catches.
But you're not counting along.
I don't count. I just sort of like, that feels about right, and about the right amount of time.
After doing this many of these videos, you have kind of like a
just get a feeling for it. And that's why it's so boring, because I'm never going, I'm trying to make this like an interesting 5-ball routine all the way through. It's just me going for it. Oh, this one's loud. I'm not sure why this is so loud. Oh yeah, because this is a video I shared before, because this is the first video clip that I got that we shared in Belfast.
Yes.
So this is the Big Fish in Belfast, and it's by John Kindness. And actually, it's not just by John Kindness. He actually gave a lot of these tiles, or he said to people, please, could you paint scenes on it? So he got some primary school kids to do it, and lots of other bits, and he then painted some stuff, and then they sculpted a big fish, and then they put these
tiles on,
these porcelain tiles or whatever it is. So yeah, this is the Big Fish, and it's such a chintzy, like rubbishy thing.
But it's on the postcard.
This is like the most impressive. We were kind of taking the piss out of Belfast when we were there. It was sort of like, wow, Belfast has got like the Titanic Museum, this, and like the cathedral, and yeah. So this was
the Big Fish.
The Big Fish. So yeah, and I got an okay thing. So next up we have the Sibelius Monument. I thought people might like this. It's 5 club juggling underneath the Sibelius with the nice sun.
Yeah.
And it's not called the Sibelius Monument. It is the Sibelius Monument, but it's called the Passio Musicae by Elia Hiltunen in Helsinki. And I recorded this in 2010 on the way to / on the way back from the juggling convention. The EJC. No, maybe it wasn't on that trip, but anyway. The EJC was there, and I remember traveling through there at the time. Right. Oh yeah, because I stayed in a hostel which was actually over in that area. So I think I just went out for a walk, and I knew this was here because I visited it before and got another job. We visited there as well, didn't we?
We did.
I have another video clip of me juggling there that Juliana probably helped out with in some way.
I did.
So people were unimpressed by that, and I thought, hey, that's one of my favorite clips because I really like the sun coming through in the background.
It's amazing.
Here we are with the big Buddha statue in Wat Phra Yai Temple in Pattaya, Thailand. I don't have an artist. It's just a big, there's loads of these big Buddha statues, and this is a very big Buddha statue from 2014 in Thailand. Medium enthusiasm for that one. I made a note of that one. Let's get through some of these a bit more quickly.
All right.
This is definitely a statue, but it's called Liberty Enlightening the World by Frederick Auguste Bartholdi. And it's in New York, Frenchman. Yeah, it's a French statue, and this is from in New York. And I was there in 2012. And I was juggling there. And in the background here, you see the World Trade Center, the new World Trade Center going up.
Yep.
And some bits of the old one or something. I don't know. Anyway, there's some bits and pieces going on there. And somebody said to me, "Oh, you really wasted an opportunity, or you should be really juggling the juggling trick, Statue of Liberty there."
Obviously.
So what I actually did is I had actually videoed myself juggling the Statue of Liberty there, but every single time previously where I've shared this video of me juggling the Statue of Liberty next to the Statue of Liberty, the only thing people have said, no one, oh, that's fun, or any, everybody has just said, you're using the wrong hand is up. And what I wanted to go for was sort of like a mirror image kind of thing. It was just a small artistic, and people thought that I didn't know I was doing it like people going, oh, there's the Molecule Man statue in Berlin. It's like, yeah, I know. And then they're like, you're doing it with the wrong hand. And so that is exactly what happened to me as well. Generic Juggler said, you wasted a perfectly good chance to juggle Statue of Liberty part. And I was like, no, I didn't. I did do Statue of Liberty next to the Statue of Liberty.
And it was a conscious decision.
For this time to share the 5-ball video and not the Statue of... I've shared this one before, I think. But yeah. But people always get annoyed that I'm doing it with the wrong hand. And I understand it, but I know that I'm doing it with the wrong hand. I'm doing it with the opposite hand.
I don't understand what wrong hand, just because you're
it's
not
the other hand.
Up.
It's the other hand. Not this one, it's this one.
Yes, but it doesn't matter that you're not holding up the same hand as the statue does.
Yeah, I know. All right, next up.
Artificially meta.
Next up, this is the statue. Thing is, I was trying to find a name of this, or the way that I wanted to do it is that I want these statues or sculptures to have a name and to have a creator or designer.
Yes.
And this one isn't, but I quite liked it, and I'd already edited this one before because this is the clip that I shared in Cambodia.
Yes.
And this is next to on the end. This is like a little roundabout at the entrance to a zoo, but it isn't a zoo. It's a reptile house. I think it's just called the Reptile House, but it's free to get in because there's a bar there. So if you buy a drink from the bar, and apparently you can eat food, and inside the tables are these aquarium. No, terrarium, I guess. Terrarium, is that what you call them when you have reptiles in them?
Like dry.
Yeah. So with snakes and stuff, and then there's a pool with some crocodile. Yeah, it's a bit chintzy. But I was trying to find that, so I was looking up online, and all I could do was find people reviewing the restaurant where you can eat sitting around a table with snakes inside it.
Fun looking statue.
Fun tour that I did out. I was on a tuk-tuk kind of thing going around. Nice. It was good fun.
There was one going past.
What's that?
Yeah. Oh, look on the left.
Is there a tuk-tuk going past? Oh yeah, one of those things. It's really fun. Cambodia. The only time I've been to Cambodia. And where did I say was that? That was in Sihanoukville in Cambodia in 2014. My only trip to Cambodia. This is next to The Kiss. It's called El Besso by Victor Delfin, and it's in the Love Park in Lima, Peru. And this is a part where it looks like this Gaudi. You know what's it? The Gaudi terraces. Yeah. What are they in Barcelona?
Parcuel.
Yeah, we've been there as well, haven't we?
We've been there.
And so that it's got a lot of those kind of mosaic, flowy things with mosaic walls. Stuff, and it's also got the kiss. And they're quite difficult to see because the sunlight wasn't good there. But that was the video clip that I got there. You see, there's a kiss going on.
I can see
they are really
going
full on,
They're in Love Park.
In the Love
Park. What are you going to do in Love Park?
Well, I'm not sure if it was. I'm not sure if it was. We've got a place called the Love Park. What sculpture do we need for the Love Park?
Is that actually the name? What was it?
El Besso.
No. It's probably
Park
in
Amor
Spanish.
Or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Next up, we have this is the Lisbon. Yes. We've been there, haven't we? No, we haven't been to that place, but I've been there many times.
I recognize it.
Yeah, this is Padaro dos Descobrimentos. It's the Navigators. I think it's called the Monument to the Navigators, and it's by Cotinellini Telmo in Lisbon, Portugal in 2015. I visited many times. You remember when I did the bridges? It was on the other side looking back, and that was there, and then the big bridge was in the background. And again, this is one of those controversial things that are sort of like, oh yeah, when Portugal was back in its days when it wasn't as
the colonizer.
No, it wasn't about colonizing. It was sort of like we've got this. What did they have? What kind of government? Was it fascist government? Whatever. They had some kind of thing going on, the nationalistic government, and they're like, yes, we're reclaiming the past. But of course, when they mean the past, we're like, in this very narrow window when Portugal was setting up Brazil and doing this kind of stuff. Yeah. So all of these different people...
It does look a bit...
This is the prow of a ship. These are some sails. Yeah. And these are there's... some navigators, some explorers, and then there's also priests who would missionaries who would go off and things like that. Course. And so again, some of these things you're like, what is it about the past that you're doing? Literally just colonialism. Okay, monument to colonialism.
Yeah. Sometimes it's interesting to read about the history and the backstory of things. I often do that. I sometimes start going into something and then you start going down the rabbit hole.
The other kind of national symbol that you can have is the fern. You know the fern with New Zealand?
New Zealand.
It's on all the rugby stuff.
They remade the flag, didn't they?
Well, one of the proposed flag designs was just the fern, and then of course the rugby team were like, "Hey, you're just taking the All Blacks logo." So this is a floating ball. It's on these cables, and what it is, the what's it called here? It's called I've lost it. I scroll down. Oh, it's just called Ferns. So I had that's why I was saying the name. This is by Neil Dawson. It's in Wellington, New Zealand in 2011. And so what he did, he had this big stone ball, and then he hammered aluminium around the ball, welded it together in a way that you can, of course, take it apart, take out the ball, put it back together again, and you have a aluminium floating globe made of ferns, and they suspended it above. This is some government buildings, or it's in that kind of that center part of Wellington. I was there again. I spent 4 days in Wellington. No, it wasn't, because I went looking for it. I was like, hey, I want to get another video with that ball, that floating ball in the background, and I couldn't find it. Apparently, they took it down for maintenance because it's dangling on cables. And if anything needs maintenance, it's something that's literally dangling above people's heads. Yeah,
falling down.
We've just seen from the Arecibo, what is it? The telescope, the radio telescope. Yeah. Something hanging on cables. You really need to get that.
The maintenance.
The maintenance.
You have to keep it going.
So they took it down, so it wasn't there this time. Right. But I was looking for it because I have good memories of finding that and going, oh, cool. And this was very well liked on Instagram. And I made a note. Do people like the floating ball, or do they like the 5 clubs? It was so different. I only had clubs with me that day. I didn't have juggling balls because I'd just arrived in... did I... No, it's because I was meeting up with some other jugglers. I was meeting up with some other jugglers there in Wellington, and so I was like, "Oh, I'll take the clubs. I won't bother with the balls. I couldn't take beanbags because I had emptied out the beanbags, so I had to take the 5 big balls if I wanted the balls to do some ball juggling." So I was like, "Oh, I'll take the clubs," but it was so windy. Wellington is known as the Windy City. It's some of the highest winds ever recorded in any city on Earth. It's because it kind of funnels the wind. It just all blows around anyway. Okay. So it was super windy. So that's why I normally do 5 clubs on triples, and here I'm doing it on doubles, like I did for the photo that we took in the park. I was like, let me do it in doubles to keep it a bit more compressed, so I can run it in the wind. Took me many attempts. Well, you can see how windy it is there.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to. This is the monument to the liberators of Soviet Latvia and Riga from the German fascist invaders. That's the name of the sculpture. Monument to the liberators of Soviet Latvia and Riga from German fascist invaders. It's by Levs Bukovskis and Eivars Gulbis, and it's in Riga, Latvia. Gulbis, that's really funny because there's a tennis player called Gulbis.
Yes.
I think he's Latvian. So that's like a very Latvian name to me, just because like the one tennis player I know from Latvia is called Gulbis. Yeah. Maybe. Oh no. Who's the? There's been other tennis players.
I don't know.
She won the French Open a few years ago. I can't remember.
Sure.
Anyway, 2017, the algorithm, this is my note, the algorithm is very unenthusiastic about Soviet memorials. I think that's it, because when we showed the one from Poland,
yes,
like people didn't, not many people liked it, and also just not very many people see it, because it shows how many views, and you can click to see how many people liked it.
I mean, it's a dark blob in the background.
Again, and I think it might be, because I literally said, liberators of Soviet Latvia from German fascist invaders. You know, you're like, oh, that is not the thing that that Instagram is like. Yes, let's promote this video, which is both Soviet Latvia and German fascist invaders in it. Like, again, I can understand why the algorithm might not enjoy that so much. So this is a sculpture which is called the Memorial Almeidas. It's by Otavio de Blasi, and it's in Dakar in Senegal. And this is an island just off the coast of Dakar. It's like in the Bay of Dakar, and this is where most of many of the slaves came from that went from that whole area of Western Africa over to the Caribbean, over to North America, over to South America. And so, do you remember when we were in Zanzibar? We went to that slave market area. Yes. They have the same kind of thing here, and it's just amazing how many people. Well, amazing. Also terrible. So now this is terrible. So this is actually a memorial, which is actually in Dakar. Not in this location, it's another place which is a big memorial, and that's on this beach, and it's kind of, big, and then they're like, well, that's not actually in the place where the slaves went from, but there's this island over there which is actually very difficult to get to. Not many people live there. It's a lot of tourists go there, not international tourists, but like also local tourists. It's like one of the destinations for people there. So they rebuilt this, and then the UN were like, hey, this whole slave trade island, which is like very historic, this was meant to be kept as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. If you start building this kind of stuff there, it can no longer be a World Heritage Site, because this is like this modern monument there. And they were like, but we want this monument anyway. So that was also controversial. But the same thing happened wasn't it in Dresden? The whole riverside was going to be a UNESCO World Heritage, and then they just
put I mean, it's slightly different to this, but
I know they built a modern bridge over it, and they're like, oh no, it can't be anywhere. It's too modern here.
Gone.
Yeah. But in some ways, I don't want cities just to become like museum exhibits of themselves. Yeah. In this case, that's actually at the far end. There's this old fortifications area, and this is just kind of built on top of it. But yeah, it's interesting. Lots of interesting history there. I did go into the slave museum. It's I always find that kind of stuff. I know it's weird to say this, of course, very depressing, but some of those things are more interesting for me to see than other. There's some things which I find like that kind of tip over the edge into too depressing, not too depressing, but like too heavy, if you know what I mean. I
mean, this is all very heavy, but of course the way that something is presented, if something is empty because they want to show stuff missing, it provokes different kind of feelings than if you have a Holocaust memorial underneath the Holocaust memorial in Berlin, where they show literally things from people and people and that's photography.
It's difficult. So thankfully, when I went into the slave trade, it wasn't like a full day of that. It was sort of like, looking around this interesting place, always in the back of mind that everything there was funded by the slave trade, and was because that island existed there because of the slave trade. Because it was all isolated, there was no way on and off the island except by boat and stuff like that. So yeah, it's trying to make, and we actually have some little souvenirs that I got there, the fridge magnets from Senegal and Dakar. We got like that. Let's move on. Oh, this didn't have a good reaction to it. Also, I think I put some club juggling. That was the last time. That was the last time 10 days ago when we went juggling outside.
The video.
I had a little Victor Coco. Hi from the USA. Hi.
Hello.
Let's move on to the Globe Monument. Again, I tried to find the name of the person who did this. This is the Globe Monument at the northernmost point of mainland Europe in Norway, and this is from 2009.
You can see in the video.
Yeah, the video quality is like super low, and that's actually just after midnight. This is the midnight sun. So what we're actually doing is, I think I mentioned this last time where this came up on the live stream. We're actually standing on top of the world, and then we're looking over the top of the world,
and then it comes back up.
So we're actually it's one of those weird things where like, oh, I'm looking over the North Pole at the sun. The North Pole is in that area. It's one of those brain breaking things.
Crazy.
But it's interesting. Yeah. Turns out though that's not the northernmost point of mainland Europe, because it's actually on an island that you have to go across a bridge to get to, and then even on that island there's another headland around the corner which is further north than that. So it's not mainland Europe, it's not the northernmost point of mainland Europe, and even on the island that it is on, it's not the northernmost point of that. But you've got to like hike 3 hours to get to that thing, and it's only slightly further north. Anyway, northernmost point. The very
where they get people to and say this.
Do you remember the very first juggling clip that I shared on here of the very first international juggler clip? Was actually the westernmost point of mainland Europe, which is in Portugal. All right, here we are in Manta, Ecuador, which is the tuna capital of the world, is what they say.
See.
And the YouTube algorithm really enjoyed this one.
Okay.
That's another time when I said the previous one, the Globe Monument, I was like, I think I've killed the Instagram algorithm. Anyway, here we go. The tuna capital of the world. It's Manta. It's in Ecuador. This is in 2012. I couldn't find the sculptor because it's not really a sculpture. It's like a signpost.
Industrial.
It's in the middle of it's sort of like, welcome to our city, and it's near the port. It's like the roundabout near the port. Manta is actually quite more known for. That's the place we actually even saw it in the Long Way Up show when the guys on the motorbikes are going up. It's where you get the Panama hat, the woven hat. That's nearby is where they come from. So the whole city, when the cruise ship arrived, they just turned the whole place into a Panama hat.
Sales.
Just go there. So this was, people enjoyed this one. This is called El Salto by The Jump by Francisco Liero in Vigo in Spain, and we've been there many times. I've been there. Vigo, yeah. Did I say Vigo?
Yeah.
So this is Vigo in Spain in 2012.
Not a lot going on.
Another interesting, like, this floor isn't flat, but I've got these juggling balls, so I want to juggle them anywhere. Yeah, very well liked. There's actually another sculpture by the same person there called The Dive, and I wasn't sure which one was which, because every time I was trying to find it, okay, there's these two sculptures by Francisco Liero. One's called The Jump, and one's called The Dive, and this one was always labeled as The Jump, but it looks like someone has dived into something, is mid-dive, the arms are going in and diving in, and the other one's called The Jump, and that's also got some like wave-like pattern. So I'm going by whatever the city said. I think it was like the Vigo Spain website, and they called this one The Dive, so it's going to be The Dive. All right, we've only got a few more to go. Let's get through these ones. Next up we have Megulo da Baleo.
Megulio.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Anyway, something with Baleo. Oh, baleen. So whales, the teeth in the whales, it's called baleen.
Okay.
These long things, and they gulp a mouth of water, and then they push all the water out and they catch all the krill on the baleen. Baleen must be whaley kind of stuff.
Well, it's certainly a whale.
This is by Augusto Cid, who is an artist. Apparently he's got a brother who is a musician. Someone said, hey, you should check out some of the music by Augusto Cid. This is another one from Lisbon, Portugal, fun. 2009. Of course, you can see it's from 2009 because the video quality is really bad. Yeah. But that was the camera that I had at the time. Next up, we have the 0 Kilometer stone. Let's answer Brendan after we just go through this. We've only got like 4 more clips to go. So this is the 0 Kilometer stone, and this is in Budapest in Hungary.
Okay.
And when I made a note of it, when I was like going through and making notes in my text document here, or in the notes document, I was like, what is this? And I called it the Budapest Vagina, and for reasons that I'm not quite sure, Budapest Vagina. Don't know why.
I think it is very obvious why.
What, vaginal? But it's kind of phallic and vaginal at the same time. It's got a pointy thing and a slit in it. Yes. So yeah, this is when I was over at the Hungarian juggling convention. We had a few days in Hungary before and after, I can't remember. And so it's the 0 Kilometer stone, and this is the point in Hungary in Budapest, where when they're measuring any distance from anywhere else in Hungary to the city, to Hungary, this is the place, and that's why it's a 0 kilometer, like zero.
It's
kilometer.
Meant to be a 0.
I think it's
with another 0 in it or something. But also you catch the ball on your head.
Yeah, don't know why. Just caught my fancy. No problem at all. Just juggle a bit and then bop like that. Just because I had those balls. I think it's because somebody was taking a photo of me or something like that.
Fun.
Next up, we have another Spanish port town. This is Cartagena or Cartagena in Spain. Don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
And this is in 2015. I've been to this place many times. There's just sculptures. This is some nautical museum behind there and stuff like that, and there's just a plaza out the front of it. And so it was one of those clips where, again, I'm not starting juggling, starting and then stopping. I'm stopping and then starting, because this thing was going around in the background cleaning up, and I was like, I'll just get the juggling clip here. Actually, at the time, I was thinking, I'm never going to share this video. Whenever I pick out a place in Spain or even this city, this won't even be the clip that I have for this place.
Yeah.
So
how big is this? This is so difficult.
It's actually really big. It's actually really big. Yeah, okay. I'm actually standing in front of it, to the side of it. Yeah, this is like,
because it could also be this tall.
Nah, it's like 4 or 5 meters high. It's actually very big. But yeah, it's the
see his testicles.
You can see his testicles. Let's move on. Oh, that's called El Zulo. I don't know what that means, but about average reaction to this one. All right, 3 more clips to go. We have here the second giant kiwi sculpture that I had a juggling video of in this place, and this is in a place called it says it right there, Eketahuna in New Zealand. And it was just, I was driving through, it's one of those places I was wanting to stop to, I don't know, go to the toilet or something anyway, and I drove through and I saw that, then I was like, and I stopped, pulled over, I was like, I've got to get a juggling video.
Did you actually see one in live in person at some
No, I've never seen it. No, cause, no, I didn't. I don't know. So anyway, check this out. So I just shared this one like yesterday, and someone actually posted, oh no, it was just on Facebook. So someone on Facebook, I think it was Mark Williams or whatever, somebody said, oh, that's interesting. You don't normally see tourist photos from Eketahuna. And when I actually looked up this place, I was like, let me look up because of course it's right there, but I would just want to, this kiwi. And I looked it up, and the Wikipedia from Eketahuna pretty much says that this is the town that people talk about in New Zealand if you want to say, oh, he disappeared out to the country, or he disappeared out to where it's no longer, like out to the sticks or something like that. Like it said in English, we say, oh yeah, he's gone to Timbuktu, and it's just a place that you say like, oh, it just disappeared off the face of the earth. Where did they go?
Eketahuna.
Yeah, Eketahuna is the place. So when he says it's actually interesting that you don't get many clips from Eketahuna, it's known that this is the place that is there a place in Germany like that? Where's the place in Germany where people go, where is even that? Like, why would you ever go to that place?
Kassel.
Really? Is it Kassel is the place? No, I mean there's some places like in the UK, but depending on where you are from, it's like different places. You know, like in the thing when you go to, oh, you've been to I don't know, Staines, or what was the movie that came out? The Borat guy did a movie. What was it called? Grimsby. Like, Grimsby is this town which exists just because it happened to be at the end of the railway line that went across the country. And when you get there, they're like, Grimsby, what's here? I don't know, some sea. Let's make it into a Victorian tourist destination. And then of course nobody cares about the bit of sea at Grimsby, and everyone has cars. So if you're going to go somewhere nicer rather than just the place at the end of the railway line. So yeah, going to Grimsby, you know, is one of those kind of places.
I think it was at the same time in my German brain what we would say.
Don't worry about it.
Maybe going to.
Anyway, apparently so many people stopped and took selfies and photos next to the big kiwi. It used to be at the entrance to the town. Yeah. But then there was no parking there, nowhere to stop. So people kept on parking and stopping at the side of the road, going there, standing in the road. It's like the main road that goes through that part of New Zealand, and then taking selfies and stuff in the road, standing there. So they actually moved it into the town centre. They paid probably more than it cost to build the statue or the sculpture in the first place to move it into the city centre. Oh, city, not city centre. There's like 200 people live there in the little village town centre, and that's it. So I couldn't find the sculptor's name. So there we go here. some people are chatting. Well, let's get through these last two videos. So, last two videos. This one is the solar system sculpture. This is another one from the Falkland Isles. Ooh. And this actually got, let me actually check. It seemed to be getting, I just posted this one this morning, and even after just a few hours, this is very well liked. And I think Jugglers, it's got loads of views in just a few hours.
It's a round
It's object. A big round thing. And I think Jugglers just see things they're like, it's the sun, it's the solar system, but it's a ball, it's a juggling ball. This is great.
Maybe that's
juggling ball.
With the big flower in Argentina. Maybe that's also a thing. It's a round object.
It's a big thing. So this is actually a 1 to 1 billion scale model of the solar system. Okay. And this is the sun section, and they actually have the other planets to scale. So that's Jupiter, and this is Neptune and Uranus or whatever like that. Okay. I don't think no, of course that's Saturn. Of course. I'm just saying around the back, the biggest one that is in there is Jupiter, and then Saturn. Yeah, so that would be Neptune. No, Uranus, Neptune. Pluto is maybe here at the end here. Although Pluto's not a planet. Either way,
planet anymore.
Doesn't matter. So this is here, and then there's actually other planets not up close to show the scale of the size of the planets. They're actually to scale marked off in the distance. So if you keep walking in this direction, like away from it down the coastline, like in a straight line. Yeah. The right distance down the path, you find Mercury, which is this tiny little pea-shaped ball, and then you keep walking and you find Venus, which is slightly bigger, and then Earth. Yeah, and it takes you. They say it takes you about 7 hours or something to walk the full length. You can walk a 1 to 1 billion scale across the. Of course, I've never been there with time to do that, but I've seen it there before, and I was like, I've seen it like in the guides. I'm like, this time I'm gonna go. It's like in a weird direction. So you can actually walk, and you can from each one of the planets, you can see the sun, so you can kind of line it up. Okay. But I've never done that walk.
One very important question here now.
What's that?
You standing behind this thing. How big is it?
It's about human size. How big is the sun? Shrink that down by 1 billion times.
But it's super difficult to see.
Yeah,
because it looks like it's like this tall.
All right, let's go over here. Let's go back here. What do I want to do? When is that from? No, I can't be able to do it. Okay. So let's actually just go back to sculptures here. There's another sculpture. This is one I actually miscalculated. I'm actually going to share this sculpture tomorrow, and this is just down the river from the first sculpture in the whole series. The first one was the angel, that big like weird horse-shaped kind of thing. And this is another video that I got on the same day, also in Melbourne. So I'll share this one on Instagram tomorrow, and we can see what the algorithm thinks of it. And
bells upside down.
Well, it's not just that they're bells upside down. I mean, they are just bells upside down. They actually make music, and so you can actually they all ring at the same time. So it's like a what did I mention here? I made a little thing. No, not a clock. Oh. It's a deconstructed carillon. You know a carillon? Carillon. Yeah. So it plays bell music, and you get all of these carillons, and there's actually one in Berlin. There's one in Berlin near the House of the Nations or whatever.
You are all being spoiled, you 7 people.
Oh, sorry, 7 people who are watching now. Because we'll upload this. Maybe some more people will be interested in watching it later. So not only can it play music, you can actually go to a website, program music yourself with this web interface, and then submit it and say, will you play this at some point? And then 5 times a day they play a piece of music, and you the person from Melbourne or something like that. I didn't actually look at it. It's just on the Wikipedia page. This is called Federation Bells by Anton Hassel and Neil McLachlan, and they were the designers, or they came up with the concept, or they were asked to come up with the concept, and they had these kind of things. Federation Bells.
That is very beautiful.
It's kind of a sculpture, kind of functional. It's a musical instrument all at the same time. And there was a few of the clips that I had which were had 2 functions too. Yeah. There was one which I was like, that's a very boring sculpture. It turns out it was a fountain with all the water on.
No water.
There's another one which is actually I've shared a few times in Singapore, the Merlion. It's actually called a sculpture, even though water spouts out of it. I called that a fountain because it's a waterfall came out of it. Yeah. And but it was called a sculpture. I didn't bother sharing that. But there is this other one here as well, and this is a sculpture, but it's not just a sculpture. It's a ball. It's actually it's called a hydrosphere or something like that. Yeah. It works by pressure coming up underneath, and the pressure lubricates the ball, and so it's not actually the weight of the ball comes down. It's suspended there, and this was I think, but I shared this one already. This was my first when I was going countries by order. This was my first Switzerland clip.
And it's also a very old clip.
Yeah, this is from 2009. This is from it has the tape there. All right, and that is the final clip that I'm going to share. Let's bring up OBS one more time, and let's bring up webcam only, and let's do a little bit of chatting. We've got a few questions here at the end that I just want to get to. How long do you tend to spend at each sculpture? Do you take a long time prepping at the site, or do you have an angle planned according to postcard tourist websites? Well, no, a lot of these things is like I'm exploring the city. All of these come from like some of these things come from me going, there's a place in this port, or this place in this place, there's somewhere at this place that I want to visit. When I was in Dakar in Senegal, I wanted to go over to the Slave Island because, again, I've been to Zanzibar. They have a similar thing there. I wanted to see kind of like the West Coast one rather than the East Coast one. Wanted to get a bit of that history there. I was going to explore the city too, but I just straight away, like the first thing I did, I got off the cruise ship, went around to where the ferry went, booked myself a ticket, went over, like bought myself a ticket, went over there and stuff like that. And then I was just exploring the place. So a lot of the places I don't have something in mind. I just want to capture something which represents the city, represents the town. And if there's a few things, like again, when I was in Cartagena, there was like this Roman amphitheater there. And and there's a castle there, so I get these different clips. Each city I go to, I'll get 2 or 3 clips. And so when I spend some time in the sculpture, generally I spend some time looking at it and walking around it and appreciating it as a bit of sculpture. And same with these other things. I'll go to a historic site and I'll walk around and explore it a little bit. And then if I find a place which catches my eye, it could be the postcard, like the classic postcard shot of that place.
Like the fish in Belfast.
Yeah, like the fish in Belfast.
Definitely.
Or like the Kiwi. Everybody stands in front and takes the selfie right there. Yes. Like that's really good. So,
but sometimes it happens that you know you're going to go to a place and then you have heard of something before, and then you're literally planning on going there.
Yes, but again, all of this is a record of places that I'm going to, rather than me going to places specifically to get a juggling clip, which is why you can see often I'll have the same clip, like, or the same thing in the background over and over again, like the same. I have loads of. How many statues did I have? That was 32 sculptures. I had loads more sculptures, which some of them are just like it doesn't look very good. And some of them are duplicates of stuff. And then I've got another 30 statues, but statues are kind of boring because they're of things or of somebody sitting on a horse, and that's almost impossible to. Statues don't mean anything to you unless you're close to them, either politically or emotionally or narratively or nationalistically, or you're very close to them so you can actually see the expression on the faces. So that's why I didn't really put that many statues in here, unless they were like monolithic and you could like, there's Jesus standing there like this. But a lot of them are like, there's somebody on the top of a column, there's somebody on a pedestal like that. Statues don't mean very much to me. But sculptures are something that I can appreciate, and again, I'll visit many times. Yeah, there's a little bit more artistic
thought behind it.
It's not just representative art. Well, it's not. Sculptures, I think, aren't just decoration. They can be used as decoration, but they're not just decoration. So anyway, let's move on here. So we say, Tim Brendan say, we go to where the peppers are growing.
We also say that in German.
What? Where to go to where the peppers are growing?
Pfeffer wächst. Yeah, I
really?
think that meant like go to.
Tim, are you from? Was it Sweden? So yes, I was trying to use my mouse to scroll back up on the iPad.
Sweden, and Germans say exactly the same.
I don't know. Go to Coventry. No. Yeah, Coventry. Maybe there's actually an expression being sent to Coventry. Yeah, it's where they put like loads of. It's like where the prisoners went. I think. I can't remember exactly where. We're like, hey Siri, where does go to Coventry come from? Siri actually is
activated.
Yeah, did actually activate.
Yeah. All right. What else do we have?
Growing peppers. Are you allowed to show Uranus on YouTube? Maybe tag the stream NSFW. Yes. No, stop, Siri. I don't want videos of Uranus.
Uranus.
I saw one of those in France. Oh yeah, one of the balls, one of the spinning balls. Yeah, they actually have a name. I should have looked it up, but again, I wasn't going to share it, so I didn't write anything about it. Yes. All right, that comes to the end. What was there? Was there any other? No, I think that was all the comments and stuff like that. So thank you very much to Victor and Brendan and Kathy and Tim and Fine Fox and Lucas and these other people who've been hanging out in the chat. Sid's probably watching as well. I don't know as well, but a few people hanging out. It's about an hour. Thanks for watching these clips. Again, any other questions, throw them out there. We're going to finish the stream. I just want to finish it once again by saying thank you very much to all our Patreon supporters. You've been a great help. Patreon.com/Luke Burridge. There's lots of juggling stuff coming up in the next few weeks and months and things like that. I'm probably going to take another pause from international juggler clips because I want to share some juggling that I want to do now. And if I have a little bit of motivation, I've got the magnet machine set up in there, and I want to come up with some more. I want to share a bit more with the magnet machine, some of the tricks that don't make it into the video, didn't make it into the routine. Yeah. I think people are interested in things that don't make it on stage, and so much of what I do, I'm getting stuff ready to go on stage, but loads of stuff like the club classrooms things are just weird tricks, and I would do the weird tricks and share them, but I haven't been club juggling very much. Yeah. But I have been, I put out some bits and pieces, like with some of those squeeze catches when I was doing that.
Yeah, people really enjoyed that. Yeah, the little in the bedroom series.
Yeah, some squeeze catches in the bedroom, whatever it is. But I've not been struggling with juggling. It's just I don't have somewhere to juggle. We live in an apartment and someone lives below us now. We used to live on ground, like the last few apartments, we were on the ground floor. Now I don't live on the ground floor, so I don't want to be doing too much juggling with people below. But some stuff. When Mandy goes out to work, maybe we can do some magnet juggling there as well.
Sounds good.
So I'm gonna take a break from International Jugglers, but I have some other series. What the other series that could be? One? I think there's this one series. It might not be very long. It's called Big Guns, and it's like me sitting on cannons and juggling and stuff like that. There's another one, Luke Gets Wet, which is all the time like I'm in water. That. Going underground, tunnels and other things underground, lighthouses and towers. I've got loads of things of me standing in front of tall things behind. Cool trees, cool rocks, castles, churches. And there was one other one that I had an idea about. Maybe just animals as well. I've got lots of me juggling with animals and other bits of animals, but a lot of them I've already shared because they're fun clips, Yes. And also I might just share some clips where just throw some out. No series, just throw out random. Some because a lot of my favorite clips don't fit in any of these series or any topics. Yeah, so castles and churches. There's some really cool castles and churches, but it gets very boring. Yes. Well, not very boring. It gets very samey. I really enjoyed the sculptures. Yes,
me too. That was fun.
And I know that lots of people not interested in this International Juggler series on Instagram, but I'm having a lot of fun. It gives a little structure for my day to every day go into the archives, find something to share, edit the little video, get the edit and share it. I've got the good workflow, so I'm really enjoying this series, even if, like, again, the Instagram algorithm does not care at all, and lots of people do not care at all. So,
but the few people who do,
these are all the animals that I have here, nice. But quite a few duplicates. Maybe I'll just share 5 or 6 animals, and it could be some mini series. 5 or 6 animals, 5 or 6 big guns, 5 or 6 Luke Gets Wet, and then that can be enough for the end of April. Yes. All right, that's it. Thanks a lot, and we're going to continue on with the stream. So we're not saying goodbye to the people in the stream. If you want to chat, that's fine. But that's it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching.
Bye.
And we'll catch you next time.